Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mind's Eye Status podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest mistakes people make in their communication, which results in people pleasing. It results in a lack of authenticity as well. And that is trying to prove yourself. Now, if you're a new listener, we talk about communication skills, executive communication skills weekly. And I've missed a couple of weeks because I recently moved to a new house from an apartment, which has been super crazy. Much more work than I expected, to be honest. But now moving forward, we're going to be releasing these podcasts more consistently, both on Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube as well, actually. So let's just dive right into it. One thing that as a communication coach, I am so drawn to is authenticity. How can you spot when somebody is being authentic? It's in a couple of things, in a few elements of their communication. I tend to notice it in their sense of humor. You can tell a lot about somebody with their sense of humor. I'm not telling you to go be a clown in order to be authentic. You don't necessarily have to be funny. But if I notice that I'm with a group of people and somebody makes a comment which can be perceived as funny, and usually that takes wit. You have to be pretty sharp to be able to see the second meaning of a statement, for example. Being able to see double meanings of statements. I mean, that's what a pun is at the end of the day. If somebody laughs at something that could potentially be funny, I really appreciate that because it shows that the person is unstifled, meaning there's no resistance to express themselves. Secondly, it shows that they don't take themselves too seriously. A lot of people tend to hold back laughter and positive energy because they think it's going to make them look too goofy. When in reality, many confident, socially intelligent people are actually very fun to be around, meaning they laugh, they enjoy having a good time. So this is one thing that I notice in people that makes me trust them more, to be honest. Not always. You have to be socially intelligent. Be aware, read the room, read the situation. If somebody is free in their energy and you sense good energy from them, trust that intuition. More often than not, it's pretty accurate. The next thing that I notice in authentic people is they're not afraid to disagree. They're not afraid to push back on opinions. They're not yes men. They don't just agree with everything for the sake of keeping the peace. They're not afraid to disagree with something and get into a discussion. This is a quality that I really appreciate because, first of all, it shows that the person thinks for themselves. Secondly, it actually makes for a more interesting conversation. Who wants to be in a conversation with somebody who does not ever offer an alternative perspective? Where's the fun in that? Where's the growth in that? We've all heard the phrase, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You become the average of the 5 people you spend time with. So do an audit on yourself as you're listening to this. How often do your friends disagree with you? Is it never? If they never do, then you should probably find some more challenging friends. If somebody is not afraid to push back and challenge you on your thought, opinion, belief, that means they're holding things back. They're holding back how they truly feel. And if they do speak up, now what does that suggest? It suggests that they're not hiding, that they're okay with being authentic. They're okay with speaking their mind. They're okay with having a different opinion and having an interesting conversation, even if it means disagreeing with you. That's somebody I can trust. Now, as I said in the beginning, I wanted to touch on the biggest mistake people make that takes away from their authenticity. And that mistake is proving themselves too much. This is usually what happens when you go to a networking event or a dinner and you're meeting new people. Most people are simply trying to prove how smart they are, how successful they are, how knowledgeable they are, how intelligent, all of these things. Worried about how they're being perceived. Most people live in this space. Most people communicate from this place. You want to stand out from the crowd. You want to be present to the moment. So much so where you're not thinking about what to say next. You're not thinking about how to prove yourself. All you're thinking about is directing your attention and awareness to the people that you're with. Stop trying to prove yourself. When you try to prove yourself, you are subconsciously lowering your value with the people that you're with. Somebody that has naturally high value, they don't try to prove themselves. They don't need to prove themselves to anybody. They're comfortable with themselves because they have self-approval. They're internally validated. You want to be internally validated. You don't want to seek the validation of anything external. People, money, fame. That's weak. That's fleeting. It's not authentic. Even if it seems authentic externally, it's not internal, is it? True confidence is internal. So I will challenge you as the listener and the viewer to do the following for the next week. Just try this as an experiment. Stop trying to prove yourself in every single interaction, even at work, especially at work. This is how you stand out, by the way. Everybody's trying to prove themselves. Stop trying to be liked. Try that. Let me know how you go. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment with your thoughts, your questions. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, if you could rate this 5 stars, I'd greatly appreciate that. It literally takes 10 seconds. Let me know on Instagram what you think of the podcast. I do see most DMs. And if you have any questions or topics that you want to hear about moving forward, I like to make these bite-sized podcasts, as you know. Just leave a comment and I'll look at making it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stop trying to prove yourself. Follow through with that challenge, and I'll see you next week.